am hiking this section of the AT between I-40 and Groundhog Creek Shelter for the third time. Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to day 41. I'm back on the trail. For those of you that have been following along, you know my story. Last Monday, I developed some pretty severe back trouble. An excruciating nerve pinch of some sort that rendered me barely able to stand up and walk. But I managed to get myself to a road crossing where my wife picked me up, and have spent the last 5 days in Nashville seeing doctors and trying to get healthy. So the good news is I feel good. My back is, I don't want to say 100%, because my back hasn't been 100% for 6 or 8 years now. But I guess I've been using the expression back to baseline. So my back feels, my L5 area back there feels like it felt for my first month on the trail. So that's the good news. The bad news is the doctors are puzzled. They're just not sure what caused this. They didn't see on MRIs what they expected to see. They expected to see a ruptured disc, or herniated disc, or bulging disc, or whatever, or some damage or tear or something, and they didn't. So they're at a bit of a loss, and that's frustrating. So I guess that's the bad news. But I'm here. I'm feeling good. My daughter, Becca, dropped me off this morning, and I am hiking this section of the AT between I-40 and Groundhog Creek Shelter for the third time. I hiked it last Sunday northbound, the normal way. I hiked it last Monday southbound in extreme pain, and now I'm hiking it again north to get back to where I left off. So that's my update, and we'll see you on down the trail. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with this vista, I gotta tell you. This is my third time walking by this in the last 6 days. Although thanks to my neighbor, I do now know that this is a VOR, a very high frequency omnidirectional radio beacon. A VOR. It is FAA, it's for aircraft communications. I think I called it a radar last time, but it's a VOR. I came by it the first time in rain and heavy fog, so I couldn't see any sights. I came by it the second time on a beautiful sunny day, but I was largely unable to even lift my head to look. I walked right by. And today I'm up here in 30 and 40 degree winds. It is a beautiful day, but it's awfully windy up here. So I'm gonna keep on moving down the trail. 60 years of gratitude, 1979.
There is a taste of time, sweet and honey, down the seven bridges road. Some things just happen all too fast, but love takes time, and it's hard to find. You gotta take some time to let love flow.
Okay, 60 years of gratitude for 1979. I have a lot to say for 1979, so I'm going to get on with it. 1979, I was 13 years old, and I was in 8th grade. And I'm having a little trouble remembering my 8th grade teachers, so I'm going to take a shot here. And as I always say, hopefully a friend of mine from Lewiston will correct me. But I believe in 8th grade, my English teacher was Mrs. Blakeney. My math teacher, I think, was Mr. Aliberty. I don't think he was high school. I think he was junior high school. My history teacher was Mr. Clementi. And I cannot remember my science teacher. I just can't. So if it comes to me, I'll yell it out, but maybe somebody can help me there. Somebody who was in my 8th grade science class. So that's all I'm going to say about teachers for today. That was a great group of teachers. Again, I loved all my teachers. Mrs. Blakeney was hysterical. We never laughed so hard as we laughed in her class. And of course, we learned a lot. Okay. I have another sports hero for 1979. 1979 is when Larry Bird became my hero. I've had a few of those athletes before, but that was the beginning of the Larry Bird era in Boston. And the Celtics won championships in his era in 80, they won 3 of them, 81, 84, and 86, or something like that, or 81, 84. I'm pretty sure 81, 84, maybe 88. But those were my high school and college years. So I was a huge Larry Bird fan. He was my hero. I can still make arguments that put him as the greatest basketball player of all time. I know that's going to elicit some comments, so I don't mean to troll there, but he's still my hero. Okay, I have another Y Camp gratitude. The summer of 1979, Bill Neely was my counselor. And I have a lot of gratitude for Bill Neely. First of all, that summer he turned me into a soccer player. Bill Neely was from Ireland and came over as a Y Camp counselor. And again, he turned me into a soccer player. In fact, he turned me into a soccer goalie. And late that summer of 1979, forgive me, I'm climbing over a huge downed tree here, trying not to make a scene. Late that summer, we were playing a soccer tournament against our arch rival, Camp Cobbessy, and I was the goalie, and that game went to penalty kicks, and I don't remember the numbers, but I saved enough of the penalty kicks, I think 2 out of 3 if I'm not mistaken, for us to win that game. And we played that tournament every session, every 2 weeks, and we had lost every session all summer against those private camps, and we won that game. So that was the icing on Bill Neely's cake for the summer, was beating Camp Cobbessy right at the end of the summer. By the way, Bill Neely went on to become a news correspondent, primarily in Europe. At one point, he was NBC's chief global correspondent. And I remember watching the news one day, and all of a sudden they cut to Bill Neely on the front lines of some battle or some conflict or something. And of course I said, oh my goodness, that's Bill Neely, my camp counselor. So another great Y Camp story there. I have a lot of them coming. So I obviously, if you've been following, you know I have a lot of gratitude for the Maine State YMCA camp. That summer, 1979, I also met another lifelong friend, Don Redder. Don was a neighbor on Thompson Lake. He and his family came from Oklahoma, and that summer, during one of his week or two up there, he and I did everything together for a couple of weeks. He was a few years older, so I was 13. Don, if you're watching, I'm guessing you were 16 or 17. I know you had your license. But we hung around, went out in boats, went and played tennis, chased pretty girls, and just did what boys do on summer afternoons. And now, again, 46 years later, we don't see each other very often, but in the summers up on Thompson Lake, if our paths cross, as we like to say, we enjoy getting together and solving the world's problems. When I did 1978, my last 60 years of gratitude, I expressed my gratitude for my lifelong friend Scott Milo. For 1979, I'm gonna toss in his dad, Jack Milo, particularly for that year because he was our baseball coach that summer. A summer league where we would pile into his station wagon and drive to pretty local places like Mechanic Falls and Otis Field and Rumford and just play local summer baseball teams. But Jack Milo became, and many of my Lewiston friends are going to attest to this. Poor Scott's going to roll his eyes. Scott used to always say, "You've got to stop telling my dad that he is a good mentor and gives good advice, because when you tell him that, he tells more stories." We used to laugh at that. But there's a lot of friends of mine from Lewiston that will agree with me that Jack Milo taught us some life lessons along the way. So for that, Jack Milo makes my 60 years of gratitude list. And the final one, which I'm putting on for 1979, I could put anywhere, is my Uncle Dominic and my Aunt Rosemary. I've told this story to my family a few times, but in 1979, we were visiting my Aunt Rosemary and Uncle Dominic, and I remember this being in Florida. It's possible the timelines don't add up here, but I'm pretty sure we were visiting them, my parents and I were visiting them in Florida, and we got lost. They picked us up at the airport, and we got lost. And I, to this day, remember my Uncle Dominic. This is long before smartphones and GPS and things. So when we got lost, my Uncle Dominic pulled the car over on a long country road and stood there until a car came the other way. And one did, and he stood in the middle of the road waving his arms till the car stopped. Of course, my Aunt Rosemary was screaming at him to get back in the car, and he asked a total stranger for directions and got directions, and off we went. I thought it was the most hysterical thing I'd ever seen in my whole life. And my Uncle Dominic was one of the funniest guys I've ever met. So I thought that story was appropriate and worthy of putting my Uncle Dominic and my Aunt Rosemary on my 60 years of gratitude. So that's my list for 1979. All right, we'll see you on down the trail. Good afternoon, friends. It is about 3:30. My beautiful day is deteriorating quickly. I do think rain is coming in shortly, in the next hour or two, I would guess. Got about 1 mile left to Groundhog Creek Shelter again. It's been a great day. I'm feeling good. I'm probably a little slow. I think my everything, legs and lungs and everything, have set back a little bit. A few days off the trail are going to do that, but otherwise I feel good, making good time, largely pain-free, just the expected pains. But it is 3:30 in the afternoon, and I'm definitely dragging a little. Legs feel a little heavy, feet feel a little heavy, and my daughter, the long-distance runner that we all cheered on to her first half marathon a few weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, last weekend, I guess, turned me on a little free advertising here to Goo, the energy gel that runners use. And she had a few left over from her training and her run, so she gave them to me and thought a late afternoon, little bit of caffeine, carbs, and sugar boost might work on the trail as well. So I'm going to give this a try right now. And hopefully it gives me a little pickup for my last mile here. All right, see you on down the trail.